This week in Jamaica Now.
We planned them properly, but it's based on intelligence that we're working with.
Superintendent Leon Clunis speaks to the media a week after the deadly police operation he led in Horizon Park, St. Catherine. Were the police adequately prepared?
They were not caught off guard. There's no indication of that.
They didn't expect that kind of reaction. It's not the kind of thing you anticipate.
We revisit the crime scene. And who is this suspect, Damion Hamilton, who was later killed by the police? JDF launches probe into Denham Town incident in which a soldier kicked a man as he surrendered on his knees. Why Daryl Vaz wanted Holywell lands. U.S. Ambassador to Jamaica says sorry over controversial All Lives Matter tweet. And a Father's Day special, how one crime fighter pampers with pedicure. I'm Damion Mitchell and this is Jamaica Now. Police Superintendent Leon Clunis has defended the deadly operation he led in Horizon Park, St. Catherine a week ago. Clunis and another cop were injured while Corporal Dane Biggs and Constable Ricardo Hilton were shot dead. The cops were on an intelligence-driven operation in search of wanted men with high-powered weapons. In his first public comment since the incident, Clunis told Radio Jamaica's Emily Shields that the operation was properly planned.
We planned them properly, but it's based on intelligence that we're working with. And we had enough persons there. The man just surprised us after we would have done a lot of work in the yard, and we're downstairs.
Damion Hamilton, a 39-year-old deportee, was killed hours later in another police operation in Holywell Gardens, St. Andrew. Meanwhile, Clunis said he was grateful, but asked for people to remember the families of the slain cops in their prayers.
Wills and Hickey would have died in the era where they were taking cover. So tell people to stop talking their stories. That's my family there. You know, that's my family there.
Yes.
And I say it every single time.
The superintendent remains in hospital recovering from injuries he received in the shooting. Meanwhile, there is intense scrutiny on the Jamaica Constabulary Force following the fatal operation. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson seems certain that the squad was well prepared.
It was an intelligence-driven operation. We had information that there were a number of, some gunmen with weapons, high-powered weapons here.
High-powered weapons like this one seized from the house where 2 cops were fatally wounded and 2 others injured in a hail of bullets in the early morning surprise. So if, as the commissioner puts it, it was an intelligence operation in search of wanted men with high-powered weapons, why wasn't the SWAT team a part of it? And why weren't the cops wearing the appropriate bulletproof vests?
You know, one of them, he got shot below the vest in the pelvic region and so on. So we will have to go through this in some detail, and when we do, we'll put out something on it.
Retired Deputy Commissioner of Police Mark Shields would not comment on this specific case, but highlighted the importance of wearing the appropriate police gear on assignments.
The reality is that if the intelligence is specifically about high-powered weapons, then there would be a requirement, in my view, in my opinion, in general terms, for a tactical firearms unit to be called in, because they are, not only are they trained properly in terms of tactical situations around buildings or pieces of land or extricating people from motor vehicles, but in addition to that, they also have proper ballistic shields. They may have dogs as well. They'd certainly have, I would hope, body-worn cameras. And they would have the requisite training in order that they could effect an arrest of somebody that is an armed suspect. So all of that is required.
Mr. Shields said a review of the incident could be critical in identifying all the gaps and failures of the operation. And another retired senior officer who asked not to be named said he finds it curious that only 11 men formed the squad for an intelligence-driven operation in search of wanted men with high-powered weapons. And more information has surfaced about the 39-year-old deceased suspect, Damion Hamilton. Hamilton grew up in the St. Catherine communities of Riversdale and Williamsfield. Residents say he had long been feared and was blamed for the death of his brother decades ago. According to residents, Hamilton and his brother had a dispute over a car, and Hamilton used a knife to stab his sibling in his abdomen. The brother died shortly after. Hamilton later migrated to Canada, but was deported in 2017 after serving time for gun-related offenses. It is reported that Hamilton attended the Harewood Primary and Infant School in Williamsfield, where his father, who is a retired detective corporal, resided with his wife. Hamilton's mother, who now lives in Canada, is from the neighboring Gubay community. And residents of Fairview in Knockpatrick, Manchester, where Hamilton purportedly lived, according to his driver's license, say he was a shadowy character who kept below the radar. They paint a picture of a loner who rarely, if ever, engaged with members of the community. The Jamaica Defense Force has launched a probe into this incident in Denham Town, Kingston Western, in which a man was kicked by a female soldier after he surrendered. Just moments earlier, the man and another soldier were in a scuffle. It's not clear what caused the confrontation. However, the Army says it is aware of the matter and is reviewing it. Government Minister Daryl Vaz was in for more scrutiny this week after news emerged that he wanted to lease government lands bordering the protected Holywell National Forest Park in St. Andrew to build a private cabin. Vaz, who is the minister with responsibility for the environment, has admitted that he knew the sensitivity of his position in government when he offered to lease the lands. Vaz has been forced to come public after caretakers of the park raised concern that the National Land Agency, the NLA, was leasing lands within the buffer zone of the Blue and John Crow Mountains National Park, a World Heritage Site. The NLA buckled under public pressure and has, without explanation, withdrawn the offer to lease the lands for 25 years at $120,000 per annum. Vaz said his proposed use of the land was in keeping with the already existing environmentally friendly Holywell party-type cabins. But he said following objections raised in the public, he wrote to the NLA and withdrew his offer. U.S. Ambassador to Jamaica Donald Tapia, who has been severely criticized for his weekend tweet that included the phrase "All Lives Matter," has apologized for using the expression. Tapia's tweet was in response to another social media message from the U.S. Embassy in Seoul, South Korea, which unveiled its Black Lives Matter banner on the embassy's building. In an internal message to his staff on Monday, Tapia said in no way did his tweet intend to negate the Black Lives Matter movement. He also said he now understands that using the term "all lives matter" in the current environment means something completely different than what he intended to express. And for that, the ambassador has said sorry. About 300 ship workers are set to dock in Port Royal, Kingston, and disembark this weekend. The crew worked on the Royal Caribbean's Rhapsody of the Seas and the Disney Wonder. In keeping with the government's controlled entry program, all persons will be processed using the established protocols for testing, sanitization, and will be placed in mandatory state quarantine until their test results are available. Many of the workers have been in isolation on board since March. A Jamaican woman on board the Rhapsody of the Seas expressed disappointment that the vessel did not dock on Thursday when it arrived in Jamaican waters and accused the government of delaying the disembarkation exercise. The woman, who requested anonymity, argued that the health and other officials should have been on hand to expedite the process to hasten their reuniting with their families. However, the government says the workers were not scheduled to disembark before Saturday, June 20. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. You may follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. Like this video on YouTube and turn on your notifications and subscribe today. I'm Damion Mitchell, and before we go, how full-time crime fighter and father of 3, Rafaelito Lafayette, pampers his children with pedicure. Happy Father's Day.
Daddy daycare.
You can do something right there, so, bend foot to that. Stand up there, so.